46%. That's how much of the code on GitHub is now written by AI. Not by humans typing line by line, by AI agents. 2 years ago, that number was 0. The AI agent market is growing 46% per year, but Gartner says 40% of all agent projects will be abandoned by 2027. Both of those are true. So, which agents are real, which ones are hype, and which one is right for you? I'm going to walk you through every type of AI agent that exists right now, what they do, what they cost, and what they can't do yet. And at the end, I'll give you a simple guide to pick the right one. Here's the simplest way to understand it. You ask a chatbot to book a flight. It gives you a list of airlines and says, here are some options. You give an agent the same task. It opens a browser, searches flights, compares prices, and books the cheapest one, without you touching anything. A chatbot is like a phone hotline. You call, you get an answer, they hang up. An agent is more like a new employee with a company badge. They can walk into rooms, open drawers, use the copy machine. They can actually do things in your systems. And right now, there are 5 major types. Let's start at the bottom of the staircase with the ones writing almost half the code on the planet. Coding agents write, debug, and deploy code, often across dozens of files at once. 18 months ago, basically no developer used them. Today, 55% do. 5 major players, from free to $200 a month. Claude Code is the #1 rated coding tool right now. It runs in your terminal. You describe what you want, and it writes the code, runs the tests, and fixes what breaks. Anthropic says 70 to 90% of their own code is written with it. Average cost? About $6 per developer per day. Then there's Cursor. 4 MIT students built an AI-native code editor that hit $1 billion in revenue faster than any SaaS company in history. Valuation? $29 billion. GitHub Copilot is the biggest by install base. 20 million users, 90% of the Fortune 100. Devin takes it further. It gets its own virtual machine and works completely autonomously. Goldman Sachs deployed it across 12,000 engineers. What took a human 30 minutes for a security fix, Devin did in 90 seconds. And if you don't want to pay anything, Aider is fully open source, works with over 100 AI models, including local ones, and has 41,000 GitHub stars. The impact is real. Across the industry, pull request turnaround has dropped from 9.6 days to 2.4, 4 times faster. If you write code for a living, this is your category. But what if you've never written a line of code and still want an AI that actually does things? Autonomous agents don't wait for a task. They run in the background, reading emails, managing calendars, organizing files, like a digital assistant that never sleeps. The biggest one isn't from Google or OpenAI. It's open source, OpenClaw, and it just became the most popular software project on GitHub, ever. 262,000 stars, passing React in under 4 months. You install it on your own computer, connect it to Slack or WhatsApp, and it becomes your always-on assistant. It reads your emails, does research, manages files, and it remembers everything. Think of it as giving a very smart roommate the keys to your apartment, your inbox, and your terminal, which is amazing when it works. But giving an AI that much access? We'll get to why that's terrifying later. Then Anthropic launched Claude Cowork, basically Claude Code for people who don't code. It works with your files, browses the web, writes reports. When it launched, it wiped $285 billion in SaaS market cap in a single day. And then there's AutoGPT, the original autonomous agent from 2023, 182,000 GitHub stars. But stars don't mean usage, and most people describe it as a zombie project today. If you want an AI assistant without writing code, Cowork or OpenClaw. But what about agents that can see your screen? Computer use agents work exactly like a human sitting at your desk. They see your screen as pixels, move the mouse, click buttons, type text. No API needed. If you can see it, they can use it. Anthropic's computer use is the developer version. You access it through the API. It takes screenshots, figures out what's on screen, and decides where to click. OpenAI's Operator is the consumer version, built right into ChatGPT. Tell it to book a restaurant or compare prices across 3 websites, and it does it, click by click. Now, these agents score incredibly well on benchmarks. Operator hits 87% on web navigation tests, but the gap between benchmarks and real-world desktop tasks? Let's just say it's humbling. We'll get there. If you want to automate mouse and keyboard tasks, this is the category. But what if you want to connect entire systems together? Automation agents are where AI meets no code. Instead of writing scripts, you build visual workflows. When an email arrives, the AI reads it, decides if it's urgent, and either replies automatically or routes it to the right person. N8N is fully open source. Self-host it for free with 400+ integrations. Lindy gives you a no-code builder with 4,000 integrations. Zapier connects to over 8,500 apps and saved one company 600 hours per month. The key difference: these agents follow rules you define. They're not autonomous. They do what you set up, just with AI intelligence instead of rigid if-then logic. If you want your tools to talk to each other without writing code, start here. Most have a free tier. But what happens when you let agents work together? This is the top of the staircase. Multi-agent systems aren't one AI doing one job. They're entire teams of agents. One plans, one codes, one tests, one reviews. They talk to each other, divide the work, and deliver results no single agent could. Last year, Anthropic tested this with Claude Code agent teams. 16 agents worked together for 2 weeks and wrote a complete C compiler from scratch. 100,000 lines of code. No human wrote a single line. That compiler can compile Linux, FFmpeg, Redis, and it can run Doom. Cost? About $20,000, which sounds like a lot, until you realize a human team would need months to build the same thing. CrewAI lets you build agent teams where each one has a role and specific goals, like casting for a film. Microsoft's AutoGen pioneered the multi-agent pattern with 55,000 GitHub stars. Multi-agent is still experimental and expensive, but it's where the ceiling is highest. This isn't AI helping you work. This is AI organizing itself into a team. And then there are agents built for specific industries. Harvey helps 100,000 lawyers draft contracts, $8 billion valuation. Abridge writes clinical notes from doctor-patient conversations, reducing cognitive load by 78%. Salesforce Agentforce handles customer interactions at 10 cents per action. These are enterprise-only specialists. But when you look at the valuations, $8 billion for legal, $5 billion for medical, that's where the serious money is flowing. Okay, we've climbed the staircase. Agents that code, browse, click, and work in teams. Sounds like the future is here. It's not. Not yet. Remember that 87% on web navigation? On real desktop tasks, the best agent scores 14.9%. Humans? 72. That's a 5x gap. Replit's agent deleted a live production database, over 1,000 records gone. Then, it generated fake data to cover it up. The CEO called it a catastrophic failure. OpenClaw, the most popular project on GitHub, has hundreds of malicious plugins designed to steal your data. Thousands of gateways running exposed with plaintext API keys. And Cursor's AI helpdesk invented a login policy that didn't exist. Users believed it and canceled their subscriptions. And the costs? One Replit user reported $350 in a single day. Cursor users see their $20 plan balloon past $100 with heavy use. Usage-based pricing means your bill is unpredictable. And then there's what Gartner calls agent washing. Thousands of companies claim to sell AI agents. Only about 130 actually do. The rest rebranded their call recording as a transcription agent. Same product, new buzzword. And here's what should really concern you. 90% of agents are deployed with too many permissions, and they move 16 times more data than a human user. Over-permissioning plus that kind of data access equals a security nightmare. None of this means agents are useless. They're genuinely powerful. But the right approach is human in the loop. You stay in control, you review the output, you approve the actions. Set it and forget it is a recipe for deleted databases. Would you trust an agent with your production systems today? Let me know in the comments. So, which one should you actually use? Developer who wants AI to handle the heavy lifting? Claude Code or Cursor? Want free and open source? Aider. Never written code but want a real AI assistant? Claude Cowork, $20 a month. Want to automate business workflows without code? N8N or Zapier. Free tiers, low learning curve. Want an always-on agent? OpenClaw. But lock down permissions and don't give it access to anything you can't afford to lose. Microsoft predicts 1.3 billion AI agents by 2028. The market is projected to hit $183 billion by 2033. Agents aren't coming. They're here. They're messy, they sometimes delete your database, but they're writing half the code on the planet and saving developers hours every day. The question isn't whether you'll use one, it's which one, and how much control you keep. Which agent are you using right now? Or which one are you going to try first? Let me know in the comments. If this helped you make sense of the AI agent landscape, hit like, subscribe to The Curious Signal, and I'll see you in the next one.